Okay, so let's talk a little bit about a few things here. We're going to discuss uh, integrating an object into the Fantastic Worlds iOS Starter Kit. This one just happens to be one that I also sell on the Game Art Partners website. So if you were to have bought that one through there, you would have a folder of items like this. One, of course, is the Adobe Flash file that we're looking at in the background here. And depending on when you bought the kit, if you were a subscriber, you might have actually gotten this as a free file. And if you were a lifetime buyer of the kit, meaning that you got a lifetime of updates, you can get this file for free anytime. So it is not actually integrated into the kit by default, so I'll discuss that. And I also just want to show you guys sort of the ins and outs of creating an enemy object that has multiple weapons to use. So let's start here. We're going to pick on the Adobe Flash file, and I'll just kind of scrub through the timeline here. You can see that I've titled the layer names with something that's appropriate for what the movie clip in here is doing. And so if you were to double click inside this, you would see that these are the frames for the destroyer mech walking through here. And all of these frame sequences have actually been exported out for you already to be able to import back in. But in case you're curious, if you're not familiar with Flash at all, or if you ever just need to re-export something, say if you adjusted the color or did something like this to it, right? You could go over here and then export out a new PNG sequence. I know that's getting cut off right about 3 commands down from this duplicate symbol. You would see export PNG sequence if you were to right-click on the symbol itself, and what that would do is it would export out every single frame inside of this particular movie clip, and all of these movie clips on the stage here are the exact same size. And of course, I built these with I created these with the kit in mind to import in there very easily. So let's talk about the multiple weapons, because that is a recent addition to the kit. Objects can they can fire an unlimited number of different projectiles, but they can have 3 different animations for each object. So we've got firing of a gun here, and actually I think I clicked on the knife throwing one. Here we go. Let's try this guy. There it is. So I'll just step you through this. So that's just a simple 5-frame sequence of the object firing that is kind of base weapon there. This one would be, I think, more of kind of a knife throwing type thing, where you would maybe kind of jab out like that, and maybe you'd see the projectile of a knife coming out that way. And then our last one is this kind of bigger gun one, where the gun sort of folds in like that. Sorry, these are all selected. There we go. And then just kind of powers back like that. So that could be maybe like a grenade, or some sort of bigger weapon that maybe he fires less often. And that's actually something that you can set up with the kit. You can choose how often weapons get fired. So that's just basically the Flash file. And let's take a look again at the assets you would have gotten included if you had gotten this through me. So we've got Atlas folders, and so I've exported out each one of these frame sequences as both your standard definition or your retina display, which just means that this one is double the size. And actually the size of these 2x ones is the size of the stage here. So this 475 by 350, which means your standard display ones are going to be half that size, okay? Because if you're to look at this full size, it's pretty big. This is 100%, and that would be a big enemy on stage on an iPad. But this right here is about right. Okay, so maybe your character's about half this size, so he's kind of a menacing guy. And these are going to be some of the things that we import into the kit in just a moment. And then, and I should say that these Atlas files can be used for any Xcode project, not necessarily the Fantastic Worlds kit, but that's why you have over here in a separate folder the properties that you can copy and paste from to make the destroyer mech exactly as I've made it. And then there's some other files inside of here, some of the weapon art. The grenade images already come included with the kit, but you might want to import in this knife and the laser bullet one, and or use your own, of course. And then we've got just a simple frame from the simple standard definition frame for tile that we're going to use just for layout purposes only. when we open up the .tmx file to basically just position the mech on the stage there. So let's go over here and do all the easy stuff first. I'm going to pick on the meta platformer version of the kit, and let's just go about exporting or importing everything in here. And that's where there shouldn't be those files in there. I'll have to remember to delete those. All right, so let's go ahead and take all the Atlas folders at once. Drop those guys in there. You don't have to toggle on the quest tests, but you can if you want to. And then let's go grab that property list file. This guy we can delete after we're done copying and pasting from it. So really all I need is this right here, okay, and some of the weapons that he uses. All right, so we've got your mech destroyer. All right, that's the name of it. And I'm just going to copy this out, and then in the game data playlist or plist playlist, I'm going to go over here to levels. I'll just put this guy on level 0, and you'll notice that the setup in the structure of these dictionaries inside of the plist file is similar to the main game data one. So you've got your levels here in the root. All right, so that's that guy right there. This is the specific level, you know, and then this one I just said your level name. And then since this is an object or an enemy, synonymous in the kit, you're going to fold down objects, and then after you have just done a simple copy from the keyboard, so just copy that, you can just select this, paste that in there. All right, so now this all the properties are already set up inside of here, and each one of these is already referencing those Atlas files that I imported in. So for example, you've got a dictionary called animation fire second weapon. That Atlas file is right here, destroyer mech blaster. That's what I called the second weapon, and there it is, destroyer mech blaster. You don't actually have to put in there that .atlas name, and you don't actually have to edit any of these because they're already done for you. So that's all ready to go. And then let's go over here with the the weapons. Grenade is already in the kit because one of the demo guys uses that. So let's go find weapons. That's right here. And I might even already have, yeah, I have knife in there, and I might even have this mech laser in there, but I'll just copy that anyway, and we'll see what happens when I paste that in. Okay, so I must already have that in there because I put in a 2 by it, which bodes well for the weapon art already being inside of here. We'll go look for knife and laser bullet in the image assets or image.xc assets catalog or assets catalog, whatever. Let's look for knife, see if that's all right. So that's already in there. If it wasn't already in there, all you've got to do is just select both of these and drop them in there like that. Oops, and you don't do that. Don't know where those just traveled to. And then let's see if the laser, all right, the laser bullet is already in there. So we've already got these images in here, and you know, since these are just the kind of the projectiles of the weapon, and they're non-animated, we do not need to put in here a separate texture atlas for those guys. Again, it's not an animation. Could be though, but at least in terms of what I've got set up, it is not. So all right, now our last little step is going to be to place this guy in the .tmx file. So I'm going to open up level 0 over here. And oh, that's just a file I had before. Let me just close these down. All right, so you can see that a lot of this is already set up, of course. And what we're gonna do is, let me go. No. Just going to get to the folder that I've got this project in. There it is. Okay. Living alongside your quest project, all right, this little guy right here, is a 4-tiled file, okay? And you'll notice that if you get any of the resources that are already created for the kit, you've already got a 4-tiled folder, okay? So all I want you to do is just copy that into here, and it'll say, it probably won't say this, but in my case it does, replace the one that's already in there. And now that the image file is in there, we are going to import that into tiled. So let's bring this back over here, and all you got to do is just find it. What did I call that guy again? There he is. Plop that guy in there, and what I'm going to need to do is put in the exact size of this standard definition .png file. And I have noticed one sort of strange thing is every once in a while, there we go, you have trouble sort of typing in the numbers. And let's see, I kind of forgot the size of the image, so let me go and there we go, 237 by 175. 237 175. Hit OK. All right. Now that that's in there, all you have to do is select it from over here. It should be the most recent one that's in there, so all the way at the bottom. There we go. Select it. Click this tool right here, and boom, you are done. So you don't put in multiple versions of it. Go back and select this tool right here. And now what we need to do is give it a type. That's going to be objects. All right. That's the same name that it has for its parent folder in the level. All right, so objects. Okay, and can you guess what the next part is? We're just going to put in mech destroyer for the name. You can think of that kind of like an instance name. And I'm trying to make it so you can see all this in one glance. So we've got mech destroyer and objects, and if it's not facing the same way, or if the depth isn't perfect, that's all right, because all we're using tiled for here is just layout. Okay, properties inside of the kit are going to take care of the z depth, the way that the enemy faces, obviously all the animations and things like that. So our work here in tiled is done. We can go ahead and save this, close it on down, and then let's see, we'll give this a quick little test here, and oops, no, I probably can get rid of that by just clean build folder. There we go. If you do get this warning, it's because I have too many atlas, or I have too many images in that one atlas folder. I keep thinking, you know what, I'm going to break that up, and I always forget to do it. Okay, and let's see if we can see all this here. The simulator will probably run this a little bit slow, but I think I can get my guy over to go meet this enemy. There he is. So yeah, and sure enough, he's already firing stuff at me. I got to get out of the way, or at least attack back. There he is. He chucked a grenade at me. Those things are kind of fun. They bounce around a little bit. Now he is colliding with this enemy right here, and he's not going to be able to get past him. This guy's not tall or short enough, I should say, for this guy to just kind of walk over him. So at least I got a little protection from that dude. Oh wait, he did make his way through. And now he's coming at me. All right, so let me close that down and see how fun this is. Sometimes it even surprises me what goes on. Let's go and talk about some of these properties inside of here. All right, so the animation folders, they always need to have a specific dictionary name inside of them. All right, so don't try changing animation fire or animation fire second weapon. But the non-animation ones, you can name on your own here. All right, so I could just make this weapons, right, whatever it is. And I'm gonna unfold this, and in case you're curious, by the way, what the code does is it just kind of sorts through anything that doesn't have or should not have a specific name, and just kind of groups it all together. So inside of weapons and firing, again, name of my choice, I've got uses weapon named, and that's his, I guess, kind of his first weapon in there, and uses weapon how often. These are some of the original property names for firing a weapon, and then your firing delay. So the difference here between these two properties is so he uses his weapon every 3 seconds, and then the firing delay would be how delayed is the actual weapon going to be added to the stage or screen after the start of the animation. Okay, so if you have a case like say this is maybe a little bit better of an example, this knife throwing one, or no, actually this is a good one too. So you got a few frames here where the gun is kind of readying itself, right? So it's maybe only by about this 5th frame that the guy fires, right? So what does that interpret to in terms of a firing delay number here? I don't know, 5 frames or so. It's maybe 0.2 of a second or something like that. It might take a little trial and error, but it's not hard to figure out. And it's also fun to do that. And then we've got our uses second weapon named, and that's a relatively new feature of the kit. So it has a build 1.11, and then kind of the same thing here. Uses second weapon how often, firing delay second weapon 0.3, and uses third weapon named knife. All right, now here are some of the fun properties that you can play around with after you've got those in there. And by the way, you don't have to use 3. You can, if you don't want 3, you can just start deleting the ones you don't want. You can go over here and set randomize weapons, and if you set that to yes, then what it's going to do is randomize of those 3, but then you can also create a kind of a random pool as well, and I think this is kind of neat. So if you have in here, let's say knife listed 10 times and then mech laser only listed once, well, the random pool of this is going to favor the knife, okay, because that's in there 10 more times than the mech laser one is. But if you don't have randomized weapons, if you have that set to no, then your weapon firing order is going to be the order that you have laid out in here. So it's going to go through knife, mech laser, grenade twice, knife twice, and then it's going to go back to knife again, actually. So really it's kind of playing knife 3 times in a row. And what else do I want to say about that? The one of the neat things here is that, or maybe sort of a hidden feature of the kit, is if you were to go and throw in here a weapon that you didn't list above here, all right, say default weapon, okay, it would actually, or actually that's one. It would actually use that weapon, all right? So in theory, you can have an unlimited number of weapons in here. What's limited is the number of animation sequences that you can have, because this first weapon is tied to this animation fire sequence. This second one is tied to, or knows to go and play this animation fire second weapon, and the third like that. Okay, if you only had, say, one animation fire sequence, and you don't mind using that same one for every single weapon you list in here, that's fine. You got no problem with that then. So it's only this, this kind of level of specificity that limits you to using 3 weapons inside of here. And then your last one is use radius for firing. So if you want to have a specific radius that the object will only fire upon the character. So when he gets within 400 points, then he's going to start firing. If this is set to no, then essentially when the object is seen on the screen, then it will begin firing. And there's even actually properties that you can set to fire when the object is not in view. And my brain is forgetting which exact property that is right now, but it's not listed in this guy. And I'm just going to fold up this one right now. But you've got all sorts of, I mean, you're probably getting a hint now of all the different properties that objects can potentially have, because this little guy is one of the more complex ones. Yeah, I think I have talked enough about this, so I'm gonna let you guys go, and thank you for paying attention. If I held your attention for 18 minutes, thank you.